Hello, bonjour, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cyril. I used to be a stem cell researcher for many years, and this is why I can tell you about the science, about skincare ingredient. And for today's video, I'm going to do my favorite subject, which is of course sunscreen. And by the way, if you're new to my channel and you want to know about the science behind skincare ingredient, definitely consider to subscribe to my channel. I am also on Instagram. I am Cyril Laurent. I have a ton of stuff over there, so definitely also if you don't want to miss any good stuff, definitely check my Instagram account. And before I start, I'm going to sunscreen my hand because this is often an area that we all forgot. So what I do, so I'm using the Claire's, the soft UV essence. I put quite a bit on the top of my hands. I've already moisturized them. And then I simply rub them on this fashion. Most of the time I don't apply it on my palms because I don't want the palm of my hands to be super greasy, and voila. So today, very important video. I'm going to talk about the worst mistake that you can do when using sunscreen. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to sunscreen yourself and to protect your skin from the sun, whatever your skin color is. If you are fairer than me, you are pasty white, or if you have the darkest color on planet Earth, the UVs are going to do some damage on your skin, whether it is UVB, UVA type 2 or UVA type 1. So please wear sunscreen every single day. You will thank me in 10 and 20 years, because applying sunscreen on a daily basis, you are not going to see major changes in like 1 week or maybe 1 month or 2 months, even a year. But in 10 and 20 years, this is what really is going to impact the look of your skin. And also, if you are young and you are watching my video, please stop tanning and doing all those wrong stuff to your skin, because currently you are young. When you get a sunburn, you don't necessarily see any damage whatever. Then you are happy because you have this beautiful tan. But in 10 and 20 years, when you have crepey skin, lots of sunspots, like all those dark spots, saggy skin, and all that jazz that you are sometimes see a lot on the beach, I mean, this is not something that we want. So please protect yourself. Okay, so the first mistake is to simply mix two sunscreen. In general, the reasoning is that you are using a mineral-based sunscreen, whether it is an hybrid sunscreen that use, for example, zinc oxide with other organic filters. By the way, both of them are chemical sunscreen, so don't say chemical sunscreen for a mineral-based UV filters, just saying. And you are going to mix it with another sunscreen that is tinted in order to correct the white cast. To give you an example, because this is the one that I have with me, would be to use this one from Anessa, which is the Perfect My Milk SPF 50+ PA rating of 4+. If you want to know about this one, go and check my video about Anessa, but this one does have a white cast. It could be a little significant, I have to say, and you are going simply to mix it with another sunscreen that is tinted, such as this one, for example, which is another one from Anessa. This is the Perfect UV Sunscreen Skincare BB Foundation. So what you are going to do is to apply it, for example, on top of your hands, mix it with the BB cream, you mix it and you apply on the skin. So why is it a mistake? It is a mistake because you can never know if you are not going to disrupt the dispersion of the UV filters, and therefore you will impact the SPF and also the UVA protection. However, you can definitely layer the sunscreen. So a good example would be to use this one. So the minimum amount for your face is 1/4 of a teaspoon. It is possibly a bit less, but in that case, you need to measure the surface of your face. Again, I have a video about this, so definitely check it out, which is how much sunscreen do you need for your face. So you apply it, you then wait for the sunscreen to set. So this one, for example, needs a solid 15 minutes to completely set. And then on top, you can dab on a tinted product. So it is, of course, even better if it has an SPF such as this one, which is an SPF of 50+. With a PA rating of 4+, and you are going to dab it on your face, or you can also simply use a foundation. So you can use your hand, of course, to apply it. You are just going to dab it. Don't rub it too much because you don't want to disrupt the layer of sunscreen that you have underneath. Or you can also use a sponge. This one is my favorite one. This is one from Tati Beauty. Maybe I am going to do a post on Instagram about this one to show you exactly how I use it, but I find it also super great to apply super fast your sunscreen and also your foundation if you wish to wear makeup on top. And I mean, it is super fast. I really like this one. So the other one that is also on the same lines, but it is way worse, it is simply to mix your sunscreen with your moisturizer. So this sunscreen is the Perfect Milk from Anessa. This one is quite drying. Again, one of the idea to mix it with your moisturizer is, for example, to make it less drying, as simple as that, or to improve the texture if the texture is super thick. The moisturizer that I feature here is one of the newest from Bioderma. This is the Xéréane, the Soothing Nourishing Balm, ou le Beau Nourrissant Apaisant. This one is a good one, also a good one for the body. So why is it bad? Because first of all, you are simply going to dilute the UV filters with the moisturizer. It is different when you apply first your moisturizer, you let your moisturizer sink in, and then you are going to apply the correct amount of sunscreen. This is not the same thing as when you are mixing the sunscreen with the moisturizer. Again, when you are going to mix it, you can never be sure that the dispersion of the filters will be great and optimal, and therefore you will decrease the protection, which is really not something that you want. If you want to use a sunscreen like this one that has a pretty matte finish with a light white cast, again, check my video about Anessa if you want to know exactly the swatches of this one. This one is quite matte. Therefore, if you have a drier skin type, it can be dehydrated for you for sure. And in that case, what you're going to do is to use a moisturizer that is richer in occlusive. So this one is a good example, but there are other examples in the market, and you are going to apply plenty, and then you are going to apply your sunscreen. Same thing, when you are going to reapply the sunscreen, first apply a thick coat of moisturizer, and then you apply your sunscreen if it is too drying for you. Which brings me to another common mistake, is to not reapply. So again, be sun smart. This is really a sentence that I love from Paula Bigun, the founder of Paula Choice. So the whole idea is to adapt, of course, the sunscreen that you are going to use, but also the reapplication according to what you are going to do. So a good example, I am staying at home all day long. If you wake up pretty early and you live in an apartment like mine, where there are a lot of lights, for sure you absolutely need a sunscreen. Again, I have a video if you want to know exactly if you do need sunscreen at home or not. But the whole idea that when you have visible light, like I have here, I am bombarded by UVA, so yes, I do need my sunscreen. But of course, I'm going to use a more elegant sunscreen, a sunscreen that I really enjoy. It will still be an SPF of 50+ with a PA rating of 4+, if it uses the Asian system. But I am not going to apply it every 2 hours because the exposure in your home will be less than if you are outside for a long time under the sun. So I will probably reapply it every 5 hours, something like that. So basically once in the morning and maybe around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it will be fine. Obviously, if I'm going to leave the home, for example, I'm going to walk my dog for 1 hour under the beating sun, in that case, you do need a sunscreen with a better protection, and you will need also to reapply it. Again, if you are planning to stay a very long time outside on a very hot and humid weather, again, choose a sunscreen that will sustain the weather, that will still be there on your skin, and reapply every 2 to 3 hours. Something, you go to the beach, you like to swim a lot, every time that you will be out of the water, you will have to reapply, even though it is less than 2 hours. So be sun smart and adapt the reapplication to what you do. Also, if you work in a office environment, you don't have a lot of visible light, you can go along and just do one reapplication, like for example, around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the next one is to choose the wrong formula for your skin type. And this is very tricky, very complicated. This is also why I like to review so many sunscreen for you, and also give you all the tricks and tips that I know about how to apply sunscreen, which sunscreen you can make it work for you, and etc. Because there is always something wrong with the sunscreen. Either the texture is lovely, it is perfect, it doesn't feel like a sunscreen, like this one for Claire's, for example, the Softer UV Essence. It also could be the one from Purito, the Centella Unscented Sun. Those ones, they are super lovely, but of course, the sun protection is not optimal in terms of filters. The problem is that the moment that you are going to choose a better sunscreen that protects more, it also goes with a thicker texture, it could be greasier, it can have a white cast. I mean, there's always something that is a little bit wrong, or simply the formula that you are going to use are going to break you out. The most recent one that breaks me out is the one from Uriage. This is the spray version. This bad boy over here, which doesn't mean that this one is going to break you out. This is something that is very, very individual. Some people will break out from this one, other won't. Other will break out from other sunscreen. I mean, this is a total mess. Unfortunately, this is not something that I can really predict. I am planning to make a video for you with sunscreen that are, I would say, safer if you are acne prone. So my main message here is to choose a formula that of course you are going to love and that is compatible with what you do. So basically, do you like to wear makeup or not? Are you exposed to a lot of sun or not? Do you have oily skin type? Do you have drier skin type? If you have drier skin type, it will be way easier for you because most sunscreen are pretty on the greasy side, so it will be easy for you. If you have oily skin type, I mean, this is a nightmare to find a proper sunscreen. So learn the good formula that you can work with it. A good tips if you have oily skin type is to simply use powder to matte it down the sunscreen. I know this is not perfect, but I mean, this is what we can do currently in 2020, but I do know some sunscreen that are pretty good for oily skin type. You have this one, for example, that is quite good. So the Perfect Milk from Anessa. So the message here, choose the formula that is really tailored for you, and of course choose a sunscreen that you like. So the next point is to declare that every organic UV filters are bad for you. This is also a misconception that is very, very often heard about. So I understand, like, if you are living, for example, in the United States, you don't really have a choice in terms of UV filters because basically only few of them are available in the market. I also think that it is similar in Canada. So my message here, if you tend to react to every organic sunscreen, and please don't say chemical UV filters, but to every organic based sunscreen, try to choose one from the Japanese brand because in the United States they are not that hard to find, or simply a K-beauty one. So good examples, they have the Anessa, of course, that are pretty expensive. I know you also have the Skin Aqua that is excellent, the UV Super Moisture Milk. This one also is a great one to consider because all the UV filters are encapsulated, so I really enjoy this one. So the next point is again about application. Of course, you do need those 2 milligrams per centimeter square. Do not under apply your sunscreen, which really goes also to find the perfect sunscreen for you, because if you hate the sunscreen, if the sunscreen is too greasy for you, it will be very difficult to apply the proper amount. So if you don't want to bother to measure your face, in that case, you will need 1/4 of a teaspoon only for your face and another one for your neck. If you do want to take the time to measure your face like this, you can weight how much sunscreen you need, and you can use one of those contact cases, for example, to measure how much you need, and then you can mark the way it goes. It will be different for every sunscreen, but it could be super easy. So like this, in the morning, you just squeeze it and you don't even have to think about it. You can also make another one when you are on the go. Of course, it doesn't have to be a contact lenses case. So the area that are often forgotten are simply the side. So the side of your face over here, for example, the beard area, if you are a guy, the hairline around here, be very careful and go very, very close to your hairline. The top of your ears are so often forgotten. Of course, your neck, your décolleté, please. Especially ladies, I saw so many ladies with tank top in the summer. I understand that it is prettier, but please do not wear those type of clothes because your décolleté will be completely destroyed by the UVs over a long period of time. So wear a ton of sunscreen. You can also wear a sort of a really light scarf to protect yourself. So be very mindful about this. The next one that is also very similar is to simply to not apply sunscreen on your lips. So I have 3 recommendations for you. This one that is that I use so much. This is the CK Bio Stick from Bioderma. Again, they are all SPF 50+. Another one that is also a pretty good one. This is the Uriage, the Barrier Sun Stick. So this one does have a white cast. It's not a strong one. Another one that is also not bad, but be careful in a very hot environment because this stick tends to break. It is 100% transparent. It is also not too shiny looking. This is why I like to recommend it. This is the SVR, the Sun Stick. So the next point, and I mean, without any surprise, you have heard me saying a lot of time, please do not choose an SPF under an SPF of 50 plus. I still have a recommendation from time to time of a sunscreen that is an SPF of 50. I mean, the whole rationale behind this is that the less UVs goes into your skin, the better. I do not think that we exactly know what is the threshold of UVB exposure and also of UVA exposure that do not triggers any biological reaction, so any damage. Basically, I do not know. It's not because you don't have a sunburn and any, I would say, visible signs of UV damage that it means that you don't have damage. For me, this is all the rationale. So the less, the better. I do think that currently in the market, we can find SPF 50 plus sunscreen that are pretty elegant and pretty nice to use for everyone, whatever your skin problem and skin issues are. So the last point for today is simply to choose a sunscreen that you don't like. I think this one is very important. Every time you go on my channel, I know I am sometimes very nerdy. I talk a lot about science and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, what is important is that you have find a sunscreen that is an SPF of 50 plus with a PA rating of 4 pluses if you know it, that you really enjoy and you like to use it on a day-to-day basis. Because if you choose a hardcore sunscreen that probably has the highest UV protection on planet Earth, like the ESD, the Spot Prevent, for example, but if you don't like it for whatever reason, if it doesn't work under your makeup, you are not going to reapply it and to use it. And I mean, at the end of the time, this is also skincare. This is something that you, of course, do for you. So choose a sunscreen that you really enjoy. Again, this is why I review so many sunscreen on my channel. It's really to help you to find the best one for you that you will enjoy to use. And again, like I have said, be sun smart. Try to have two types of sunscreen. I would say two favorite one that I probably use the most actually is on a day-to-day basis, the Clarins, the Soft Airy UV Essence. I love this one. I know that it has an essential oils from mandarin. This is not optimal at all. I do prefer it over the Purito for many two reasons, because the texture of this one is crazy good. I really have a lot of pleasure when I apply it. Also because it comes in a bigger package and I use it so much. It's also an excellent hand moisturizer. This is the sunscreen that I use the most on my hand because it is not sticky. This is why I love it also so much. If you want to apply makeup, this one is also perfect. Now, if I know that I will be exposed to a lot of sun, when I know that I will be in a very hot weather, it will be super humid, I will choose most of the time this Japanese one, which is the Perfect Milk from Anessa. It is probably not the highest UVA protection that I can find in the market, but with this one, I don't react to it. It doesn't give me redness, and from time to time, I can get it from super high UVA protection. It doesn't burn my skin, it doesn't bunch, and etc. So choose a sunscreen that you really like, enjoy, and that is tailored to your skin. Of course, I'm going to review many more sunscreen. I do think that the next one will be from the Uriage brand, so the, again, French brand. I thank you for watching. Again, please, if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. Of course, if you are new, please consider to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to ring the little bell to not miss any of my new videos. Go and check my Instagram account. I have so many stuff over there. I also, from time to time, do live to answer your question. I hope you really enjoyed this video and I will see you next time as always. Bye bye.